With Ralf Graber. Ralf is Executive Vice President of M&W Zander's U.S. operations. M&W Zander, a company we're very familiar with at the Nano College. Zander is constructing the newest facilities and has constructed many facilities at the Nano College. So we're familiar with your work, but give our viewers a sense of M&W Zander's footprint in the global nanoelectronics arena. Large company with an awful lot of projects.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here. M&W Zander is a globally operating design, construction management, but also facility management corporation. So we employ about 8,000 employees globally. We have offices in Europe, we have offices in Asia, but also certainly over here also in the US. Revenues in 2007 were in the $1.6 billion range. And our focus is really on the high technology facility arena. So we are serving the electronics market, we're serving the science and research market, but also we're looking into biotechnology, with other words, anything that is looking into new technology, state-of-the-art nanotechnology, but also photovoltaic is something that is really on our focus and our screen.
I would think that with the world's climate as it is today, in terms of talking about renewable energy and dealing with issues that are of great importance, technology is seen as really a solution in many of those cases. And so with that comes the need for facilities. I would think you're in a growth business.
Yes, absolutely. And I think you touched on a very important area over here, energy, transportation, but certainly also areas such as photovoltaic are certainly on our radar screen. So M&W Zander is really spending a lot of effort also in science and research. We are maintaining our own technology center over there in Germany, where we have about 60 scientists, engineers, but also architectural resources that are looking at groundbreaking new ideas, how to drive new ideas and innovation, and also collaboration and alignment opportunities between the different areas of research, of design, of architectural services, but also of construction management services. So in other words, we really do try to address the whole life cycle of the business, from going from designing a facility over constructing a facility management, but also commissioning and also decommissioning a facility.
It's interesting, one of the words you just used was innovation. Companies now then are coming to you not necessarily with the plan, here's what we need you to do, build it, but they're looking for you to get involved in coming up with the solutions, correct?
That is correct. And really what you're doing in the nanotechnology area, it's really about designing and building for the unknown. A lot of the information that is out there is really not known at this point. So we are driving basically from our past experience out of the electronics area, also out of other high technology facilities, and trying to find the best solution for those new ventures where many of our new clients are getting into.
I assume that as you work all over the world, you see similarities and differences as well, whether you're working in the U.S. and Europe. What are some of those?
Yes, and I think the real tactics of a lot of our clients are now to have really a globally operating organization where they have representatives here in the U.S., but they're also trying to venture into other areas such as Europe and such as Asia. So with our representation across the whole world, basically with having offices in all these areas, we are really able to take the innovation which we have gained from one area and take it to the other area.
And so global is certainly a watchword, but not something that seems like a great idea, something we'd like to strive for. It's an expectation.
It is absolutely an expectation. I think our clients are really looking into the concept, the world is flat. I think they're really looking into what is out there, what kind of opportunities do I have to certainly save costs, but also to get an environment, climate that is supporting our business initiatives.
We're back with Ralf Graber, Executive Vice President of M&W Zander's U.S. operations. We referenced at the top of the show the work that you've done, certainly at the Nano College, building 300-millimeter wafer clean room facilities. In the field of nanotechnology, which is growing quickly and certainly has the ability to impact any number of industries, from health and energy to telecommunications, security, and so many others, Talk about some of the unique challenges that you face as a design firm, a construction firm for these high-tech facilities amid the very unforgiving, if you will, aspects of nanotechnology.
Yeah, let me just make one comment at the beginning here, because some people really don't have an understanding of what kind of size we're talking about here. So nanotechnology really describes feature size that are 100,000 times smaller than the human hair. So what we're really trying to accomplish over here is finding solutions for technologies that really haven't been invented yet. Now, what we have to do is we have to go back to history to see what kind of technologies have we looked at in the past, such as electronics. So we started with, the 200 millimeter concept and even smaller. Now we're going to 300 millimeters. Some companies talking even now is bigger wafer size.
Sure.
So we are really gaining our experience from prior approaches that we have done with some of our key clients across the world. So we collect this information, such as energy consumption, such as utility consumptions from facilities which we have designed, constructed in the past. We gather this information and then apply it to the new concept of nanotechnology. This is really the process we went through. With other words, our scientists, our engineers that have been working on these approaches in the past have gathered a unique set of information from those prior projects. They have put them into benchmarking data, and now we're using this information to design for our clients in the research area. A lot of universities are working for Georgia Tech, we're working for UPenn, we have been working for UC Riverside and other key clients in the research arena. Now we are applying this information, what we have gained from other industries, to develop new facilities, new concepts.
And has that put additional responsibility on Zander, on its engineers, designers, researchers, et cetera, to be up on technologies, to understand the impacts and those types of things?
The critical part of being successful in this market is really having a very close relationship with the researchers that are representing our client base. I think we really need to start this process from the very get-go, already in the pre-design phase. I think we really need to understand the client's interests, the client's focus, to make sure that the facility that we're going to design and also construct later on meets the purpose. With other words, we are intending to build a purpose-built facility that is hopefully also sustainable for a long period of time. So sustainability is going to be a key aspect of our work going forward, because we really want to make sure that the client can operate and maintain this facility for a very long time, and he doesn't have to convert it after 1 or 2 years being constructed.
We haven't even touched on the cost. The cost of building these facilities is significant, perhaps more significant than transitions to other industries in the past, and that puts an additional pressure on, as you say, to make sure it's sustainable far into the future.
This is an excellent point. I think one of our key criteria when we start a project is design to cost, design to budget. So we really align very closely with our client to understand what are his funding capabilities. So we want to make sure that our designers work very closely with the client, but then also with the construction manager to understand where is the design going, because we don't want to be in a position that our client is running out of funding while we're going through the design process. So very early on, already through the pre-design phase, we collaborate very closely with our estimating team, our pre-construction team, to understand what does it really cost, what we are designing on our plans, specifications and reports. So while we are progressing with the design, our clients will be kept apprised of all the progress on the cost side. So we want to make sure that the quality, the cost, but also the schedule impacts are going to be clearly identified, not when the design is done, but already at the beginning of the design process.
And collaboration is key.
And collaboration is absolutely critical to achieve this goal.
Back with Ralf Graber, Executive Vice President of M&W Zander U.S. Operations. As we've talked about, a company with a growing portfolio of business in an era when technology and certainly nanotechnology is driving many new applications and new opportunities. As you look out into the future, say the next 5 to 10 years, what are the opportunities that M&W Zander sees for continued growth for the company, for the industry?
We see a huge opportunity out there in the concept of virtual integrated project delivery methods. With other words, new technologies have evolved that are really streamlining and improving the collaboration between the owner, the designer, the constructor, the trade contractors, the public, and any stakeholders that are really involved in a project. If we look at the present concept, which we feel is a rather fragmented concept on the technology or data exchange side, but also on the social side, our clients are dealing with specifications, with drawings, with reports, with cost estimates, etc., that are really not connected. With other words, the applications that we see out there right now do not really effectively communicate with each other. What this leads to is that we have to enter and re-enter data, and some studies suggest between 5 and 8 times any data point on the project has to be entered and re-entered, which causes a lot of inefficiencies, which causes a lot of additional costs for the client. And what we are looking at now to solve this problem, we're looking into a strategy which we call virtually integrated project delivery process. And there are several tactics which support this process. One of them is building information modeling, which is basically a database that contains all the information where the stakeholders on a project have access to. Another one is the integrated project delivery process, which is really the alliance of the different stakeholders on the site. With other words, we want to make sure that we have a collaborative process going on where all the stakeholders really communicate with each other to achieve the overall success of the project.
It's fascinating that amid all of the technology, all of the infrastructure and all of that, it comes down in the end still to people, to understanding needs, to being able to collaborate, to being able to work together to achieve what all parties are looking for.
Yes.
That's an important message in this day and age.
And this is exactly right. And I think the virtual design and construction process, which is another tactic, which is part of this virtually integrated project delivery strategy, is a very important aspect. We really suggest that all the stakeholders on the project come together very early on during already the pre-design phase of a project. We do not want to be in a situation that the contractor, the trade contractors are going to be brought to the table during the detailed design phase or when the design phase is completed. We want to have their input at the very beginning because this is the time where most of the critical decisions need to be made. Any changes that are going to be made later on, let's say during the construction phase, will cost the owner or the user a lot of additional money.
Sure.
So we are really driving towards a virtual integrated project delivery model where all the stakeholders are going to be brought to the table. This certainly requires also that we maybe have a different setup of contractual agreements between the different parties, because the industry right now in the US, unfortunately, is preferring a design-build approach, which not necessarily supports a collaborative environment at the beginning of the project. So what we're suggesting a change to the model, to the contractual agreements that are in place right now, to foster the collaboration between the different parties.
And of course, the cost, as everyone continues to pay more for the facility, the construction costs rise, etc., that would seem to actually work in favor of collaboration. Let's all get on the same page and bring this in at a point that we'd all want to.
Yes. You do not want to find your client in a position that at the end of the design phase, they find out that the designer, together with the constructor they have hired to oversee the project, are really not meeting the budget concerns, are really not meeting the schedule concerns. And that's why this collaborative approach at the very beginning is very essential. And building information modeling, a database that contains all the data that the different stakeholders bring to the party in one model, is absolutely critical to the success.